Hey Islanders, and welcome to episode 68 of the Camano Voice. Today I speak with the owner of Vida Verde Home. Please welcome Brynn Guadamuz.
Hi, I'm Brandon Erickson, and you're listening to the Camano Voice podcast, where I interview folks around Camano Island and beyond. If you want to stay up to date on events, businesses, and even hear a little history of this area, subscribe to this podcast and share with your friends. Thanks for listening.
Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice, where we release a new episode every Tuesday. Again, I just wanted to mention, if you guys are enjoying this, if you're enjoying the Camano Voice, and if you have a favorite episode or this episode, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with your friends and family. I'm really trying to grow the podcast this year, now that we've hit the 1 year mark. And so anyways, I want to do that. Also, if you want to reach out to me, if you have guest suggestions or if you have just want to say hi, you can email me at voice@camanocommons.com. That's voice@camanocommons.com. Look forward to hearing from you guys. So today I got to speak with Brynn Guadamuz, which I got that after the fact, so you'll see my introduction gets a little messy, but you know, that's the fun of live audio. Anyways, she is the owner of Vida Verde Home, which she makes cleaning products that are natural. They're fine to have in your household. They're safe. And so anyways, we talk about how she got started, what her first business was, what she thought she was going to go into from a career perspective, and then how that changed. And we get into all of that. Also, we get into her new place she just opened, the Vida Verde Home, her physical store location in Stanwood. So we get into that, what it's like launching a physical store in the middle of a pandemic. So anyways, all that and more. So please enjoy my conversation with Brynn Guadamuz. Hey Islanders, and welcome to another episode of the Camano Voice. Today I'm here with Brynn. I forgot to ask you.
Guadamuz. It's okay. It's okay.
Normally I start these off. Okay, Brynn Guadamuz.
Yes.
With Brynn Guadamuz, who is the owner of Vida Verde Home. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Yeah. So before we get started, tell us a little bit about Brynn.
Okay. Well, I am a mom to 3 little girls and a husband I've had for 15 years, Bobby Guadamuz. He's a captain on Camano. And my 3 little girls, you can recognize their names on our candles. Avery is my oldest, and she is the creator of Loren, our best-selling candle. She told me to shout her out on that. And
nice.
Then Vida is my second oldest, and she's 9, and she likes to know that her name is my business. But and then Flora is 3, and she's my youngest. So yeah, I'm a wife and a mom and a business owner, and just trying to juggle it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Right.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up kind of all over this area. I started in Everett area and then like Stevens, but most of my growing up since I was about 14 was here.
Okay.
Yep. I went to high school here and graduated here and stayed here.
Nice.
So yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So what was it like growing up in this area for you?
It was really fun. I feel like you have the small town experience, you know, just good old times, bonfires, it was just a good, wholesome upbringing. I think this is a great place to raise kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's beautiful. You know, we're spoiled living here. So I feel like it's the best. I wouldn't want to raise my kids anywhere else. So I loved it.
Yeah. Very cool. And were you on the island or in Stanwood?
Yep, on the island.
Nice.
Yep.
Were you north end, south end?
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Right by Iverson Beach.
Nice. Oh,
Yep.
That's a great spot.
Yeah, we loved it.
That was probably also before Iverson was really a well-known beach, so it's just yours.
Yeah, it was just definitely a little beach road where people came and stayed in the summer.
Nice.
So, yeah, it wasn't like it is now.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little busier now.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So after graduating from Stanwood, where'd you go then?
Well, I went to school for dental assisting, which was never a passion of mine. It was just kind of like my next jump to something I could do, and just being 18 and not really knowing what I was wanting, which I never worked a day in that field. I graduated and everything, but I've never done it since. I've always been more creative than I was wanting to be in an office setting 9-to-5 situation.
Okay.
So yeah, that didn't work out for me.
Okay. So did you end up finishing school on
I
that?
did.
You
Yeah,
did?
I got great grades, finished, graduated, and paid the $10,000 for going. I know, but never ever did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So then what kind of happened after that? So you graduated and you didn't enjoy that field. What did you go from there?
Yeah. Well, at the time, I was working at Locals Espresso. I worked there from like 17 to 27. I had the best bosses in the world, and, you know, in the espresso industry, the tips were amazing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I could do this, be off by 10, make a bunch of money, and do fun things on my time off rather than making the same money 9 to 5. I always just kind of had that in me, like I don't want to be a slave to a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So,
Did you, sorry to interrupt,
No.
but did you work there when it was still Nick's?
no, right after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
very cool.
So, yeah, I think I was like 17, so 2000, maybe 2001, I started working there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just started, I got married super young. I was married at 21, 23, I had a baby. So it just was like, I was more interested in that than
Yes.
anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of followed a similar path on that. We got married at 20 and then we had kids by 22. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. You get it done early. Then you gotta,
everyone looks at you crazy.
yeah,
but, you know.
absolutely. Yep. I definitely got looked at crazy.
Very cool. So then, was it during that time you were what were you kind of doing on your off time during that?
Well, I was just being a mom at that time, being a mom, and we were, my husband's career was building, and we just were figuring out if we were going to buy and stay here, and kind of going through all those juggles as young and dumb and not knowing what we're doing, buying homes and all that stuff. And so it was my second daughter, when she was born, where I'm like, man, I need to figure out something else here. Like my being a firefighter, your schedule is very awkward, and we didn't have a ton of help with our kids, and so I needed to find a job that worked around his schedule. So then I just started getting creative and started like just praying about what I was supposed to do, and so that led me into figuring into cleaning homes. So then I started a business called Green Life Cleaning that we had for 6.5 or 7 years. So, and that became my passion. I really felt like I wanted to teach people how to clean naturally. And so it was this huge journey of trial and error of what natural cleaning products worked and all of that. So that was when I started that journey, was that next phase.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then how quickly did you build that up when you decided to start doing that? Was it just for friends and family at first?
Well, it was actually as you know, this area, word of mouth is everything. And we've lived here for so long and been in the community for so long that honestly, it grew really quick. Because, you want to trust people that are in your house.
Yes.
So
yeah.
that went a long ways. I would say that really catapulted my business, just people being comfortable with me in their home. So it was a quick grow. I mean, it was kind of crazy. So, yeah, I started using other natural products that were just I could buy.
Yeah.
But nothing was doing like the industrial trick, you know? Like when you clean houses, naturally it's a lot more elbow grease. It's not slapping bleach on something, and you have to really, it's got to work in order for you to base your whole business around it. So, yeah, it was trial and error for many years of what didn't work, what worked, and then I just started playing with my own stuff, and then that's how my own products became.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So then how did you kind of you were trying these different products and you felt like they weren't really working. How did you when did you decide like, I think I could do a better job? And two, how did you actually start getting into formulations and everything?
Yeah. So when you first start, you just don't know what you're doing. You feel like you need 80 products for the one room, a duster. I ended up having a caddy just like overflowing with products.
Yeah.
And I learned really quick, this is not a good end to my means. Like it's chaotic, it's too many products. None of them are doing it for me. And so I really feel like I just I learned that less is more, and I just wanted just a couple products that I could carry into the place and not have all this excess of stuff. So I just I feel like it was a journey of prayer really for me in my life, of just like strategy. Like I always pray for strategy in whatever I do. And that was a major download of just 3 different products that cover your entire house, that I could train my employees on and get them really familiar and acclimated with. Less is more. You know what I mean? So it was just working with different concentrates, really, you know, where you need heavier concentrates in your bathrooms and lighter concentrate on windows, you know, just stuff like that, where I just am like, okay, if I could do 3 really nailed products, I think that we could really do something here.
Yeah. Well, and like, I feel like when I was doing cleaning as a kid and stuff, like it was like you had your window stuff, and then you had your stuff you used for counters or like just hard wood surfaces type stuff.
Right.
And then you had like the stuff for like scrubbing like Comet or whatever for like sinks and stuff like that. So how did you kind of base around like what you use for what, like as far as?
Well, you learn really quick when you're cleaning, because it's all time. You're all based around time, and less time is more money. And you want it quick. You don't want to do a million products in one room. You know, so as you go and as you learn, that's really not necessary there. I could just use this all-purpose cleaner for dusting, wiping down counters, your go-to. Then I can use this one more concentrated thing in areas like toilets and sinks. And then that just kind of became, we would kind of juggle on between employees. We'd have like teams of employees, and I'd be like, okay, you're doing bathrooms. Here's the Breakthrough, which is our concentrated cleaner.
Okay.
You know, glass and window, whoever's on that, here's Shine Bright. I'll take Purposed and do the dusting. You know, you just kind of get in these rhythms where things make sense.
Yeah.
And I've always been the type of person, I love a small menu even at restaurants.
Yeah.
I love it when a restaurant has a tiny menu, but they nail everything they do.
Right.
And so that was kind of my train of thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. This is probably a silly question, but like when it comes to glass cleaners, like I know Windex uses ammonia because it evaporates quickly. Is there something that like you can add to it that makes it so that it does that?
That it evaporates quickly?
Yeah.
Well, vinegar evaporates very quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. I know Windex. It's like I understand the value of Windex. Like I get why people love it. I understand it. But it's like once you start kind of researching into these things, you can't unknow it.
Yeah.
And at the time, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and she was a stay-at-home mom. And so I started researching all these statistics that were leading to women who are stay-at-home moms who've been exposed to these chemicals more in their day have a higher rate of cancer. So then that got me kind of like, wow, where can I cut this?
Yep.
And what's worth it to me to, you know, not have in my life anymore and expose my family to. I think what people don't realize is that even when you're not using your products, they're sitting underneath your counters. They're in your air still, is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so it was just a really big eye-opener to me that things that I loved, like Windex and stuff, just became not worth it anymore.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, you research things, people, and especially during COVID, you hear people like, is that really cleaning it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And the answer is yes. Like these things really do clean.
Yeah.
There's tons of studies on vinegar and essential oils being a very big disinfectant that work.
Right.
Do you have to do them more probably than chemicals? You do. It's just more elbow grease, but it works. It's all about what's important to you.
Right. Yeah, and I think you've spoken with my wife before. But she's similar in that. She as a kid she was interested in a lot of these different things. Of like, I mean, she grew up with hippie parents, so like, farming and making a lot of their own things, and so she had that as a background. But then she was really interested in a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, she would just like do deep dives on like meat and these different things. And then as she learned these things, she's like, oh, well, I can't eat meat at a restaurant anymore.
Right.
And like all these different
things. It ruins you.
And I'm, so she was kind of similar in that, as she learned these things, she's like, well, now I can't do that. Like consciously, I can't do that.
Yeah. It's a bummer. But I mean, you do. And I think people get overwhelmed with going green. You know, people, they have so much to do to get there.
Yes.
And I just always say, just cut it where you can. Where you learn and it bothers you, then take that out. You know, and don't let it be overwhelming, because it is. That's a lot of different things that you have to change your mindsets on, and, you know, but it's hard to do. So, yeah, it's a journey for sure.
Okay, so how big did you end up, was Green Life Cleaning, did you get it to before you decided to kind of slow it down?
Well, I actually, it's wild because I was my busiest when I shut it down. I had a baby and my hips kept going out, and I was having to delegate quite a bit to my employees. And that was really hard because customers want to see you in their home. They have more complaints when you're gone. It just started getting to be really a lot. And the grace was lifting from it, you could say. Like, it just felt like this isn't good anymore. This is, yes, it's profitable, and it seems on paper this is crazy to stop, but it wasn't worth my peace at the time. Like, I wanted to just be a mom. I wanted to breathe, you know, not be glued to my phone all the time. And that was what was happening. So now that I look back on it, I can see how it was a complete stepping stone to my next thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was just a lot of confirmation in my life, like, okay, Brynn, it's time. Like, this isn't good anymore. So, we had a good run, and it was a big learning experience. I would have never considered myself someone who was going to be a boss, because it's not my personality really. Or, you know, I just would never have thought I would have done that. Yeah. But it all just happened, and I just rolled with it, and I think that's kind of how been an anthem in my life of business.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then while you still had the business, is that when you started producing and selling the products?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I started getting customers asking me for the bottles for in-between cleans. And at the time, I was just using, when I was there, industrial cleaning, you know, ugly gray plastic bottles.
Yep.
And I was always bothered by using the plastic, because the essential oils draw out the toxins in the plastic and stuff. So I was always trying to, like, okay, how we always used it so quick that it wasn't a problem. But when people owned it, I wanted it to be different.
Yep.
And so I cleaned these houses. Oh my word, Brandon, there's some gorgeous houses on Camano.
Yeah.
And so I always kind of dreamed, like, what would it look like? What would I want my product to look like in these high-end homes? I wanted it to be appealing, and people to feel like they could put it on their counter. I know I'm always drawn to really simple products that have simple packaging. So I just kind of started to dream about what I'd want it to look like if I sold it, and then researched amber glass bottles and got my vision on a label, and started doing farmers markets actually here.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that was when I started seeing, like, oh wow, people are, you know, and I think it's also like I said before, you know people around here. You know, people trust what you're doing, and they've heard about you here or there. So it just kind of was people were really kind to me about starting that, you know. So I had a lot of support, and local businesses picked me up, and it was kind of just a smooth transition into that.
Yeah. So did you had shut down Green Life Cleaning before you had fully started?
I did both for a while.
Oh, you did?
I did both. I did, and it was starting to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing it. Especially when I added the candles and a baby. It was like, wow. So yeah, it was a big leap of faith to shut down, because for a while there, Green Life was kind of funding my dream of, because, you know, any business, you don't profit right away.
Right.
So I was essentially starting over when I stopped my cleaning business, and I starting from building this brand up again.
Yeah.
And so, we overlapped for a year, I think. And then when I decided to completely just take the leap of faith into only my retail, that was a couple years ago now. So, yeah.
Very cool. So when did you make the jump from Vida Verde Home from Green Life Cleaning?
So I was doing both for a while. One, I was doing Green Life Cleaning. I wanted it to be brand recognized with my cleaning business, because that's how people knew me at the time.
Yeah.
And then when I started making candles, it just didn't look right. Green
Yeah.
life cleaning on a candle. And
Right.
so I'm like, what could be a beautiful name? And then my husband's Nicaraguan, and so our daughter's name is Vida, and I just thought, oh my gosh, well, in Spanish, green life is Vida Verde. So it was kind of like,
okay, this makes sense.
yeah. So it kind of was like, oh my gosh, it's sweet to me because it's my daughter's name. Plus, it's my business name already. We just are switching it up. It was kind of just like a cool off branch of what I was doing. And then actually, Adam Kopp from Matic is a friend of ours, and he was the first one to suggest you should do everything under Vida Verde. And I was like, but then I'll lose my brand recognition with Green Life. It was a big decision for me, but it totally made sense. It just took me a while to kind of process it.
It's really hard, especially if you've grown something and it was you put so much energy into building that name.
Yeah.
To make that's a big decision to make that switch.
It was a huge decision. And it was, we had battled for Green Life Cleaning for a while, just with another company that was originally Naturally Made years and years ago. Then somebody who had a trademark for a different name.
It crossed over enough?
Yeah, I had to change it already.
Yep.
So I knew that the process was going to be arduous and expensive to change my name again. But it was actually the best thing I've done because it's catchy, and it actually hasn't been a problem as far as what I can tell that people caught on to what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that. When he first said it, I was like, I wanted to cry. I'm like, no, that's like a lot to swallow. But it was really good advice, and I'm so glad we did it because now it's just one name. It's simple. You know, one name, one company. I don't have to juggle explaining who I am. I'm not two different companies. A lot of people thought, stuff like that.
Very cool. So you started Vida Verde Home. Did you make that whole brand switch then by the time you had jumped ship to just that?
No, it was after I shut down my cleaning business. I made that summer when I started doing farmers markets again. I launched all under Vida Verde Home.
Got it.
So that was a big deal for me, and everything looked the same as far as like the look of our product. So it was just kind of reintroducing it a little bit. Yes, we're the same company. We're just different, just going through all of that, which is just part of the plowing in business, I guess, you know, what you have to be willing to do.
Right. So you had done some research, you got some packaging together, and then you got, did you come up with your own logo and everything then?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I worked with a gal. She was so gracious with me. It's so funny. Like you look at my packaging, it's so simple, but I'm such a freak about it. Like it took forever to be like black writing on white. You know what I mean? It's hard to. I had it in my head and my heart what I wanted it to be, and I mean, it took so long, but I feel like we've got it. Yeah, we got it out, and she's been on the journey for me. Shout out to Bonnie from Alexander Printing. She's been on quite the ride with me, changing my name, changing packaging, all of it. She's been great.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure I drive her nuts.
Very cool. So you'd been doing that for a while. When you relaunched, had you already started doing candles then?
Yeah, I had done candles already for probably the last 2 years. That whole time period when I was still doing cleaning, I was still doing candles. So we kind of evolved because we started in vintage glass, and we had kind of a look about us. But I wanted to mainstream it more. Yep. So then we decided to get the labels looking more like the cleansers and just getting it more mainstream, where I could market it better. I could ship it easier. Yep. So that was kind of the next thing we did. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. And then, so with the candles, was that something, how did that kind of come about then?
Well, it was kind of like how I mentioned before at the cleaners, like when you know too much, you need to, and I've always been a candle burner. I've loved candles forever. Burned a million of them. Well, it was the same thing when I started to kind of learn about fragrance oils. I'm like, couldn't do it anymore. Like I was just like, because one of the things that people don't know is like a fragrance oil takes 3,000 chemicals to make one of the oils that are in a candle. And usually there's several oils in a candle. So I'm like, well, maybe and it just goes into your air and your bloodstream.
Yeah, you're breathing that.
You're
air.
breathing it. Yeah. And so having little kids and it, like I said, it's just like you start to kind of what matters to you, you change. So I made them for myself, and I thought once I started doing markets and stuff, I used to go to markets to buy candles.
Okay.
Like I loved buying local makers.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, maybe I'll try it, see if people like this. And that too just was a really welcomed thing for the community. They really were sweet to me and tried my candles and loved them. And the candles end up being what makes me the busiest.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
That's been a really fun thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then you'd been selling at farmers markets and things like that. How long were you doing that? How long have you been doing that then?
Gosh, farmers markets I've been doing 4 years.
Okay.
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you were doing that, and then what kind of drew you to? So you started getting into retail place, like you sell locally here at the marketplace.
Yep.
Where else do you sell, and how did you kind of start building that up?
Well, it's just so funny how you don't even know these dreams are in your heart, like they could even become a reality type of thing. My friend Autumn, who at the time owned Gather in Stanwood, and she was just encouraging me, like, if you get these bottles made, I would sell them in my store. And I was just like, you would? Like, I couldn't kind of believe somebody would get on this with me.
Yeah.
And so she was so encouraging to me in my getting them made, just doing it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to lose? I'll sell them. She was super sweet. And so I got in there first. And then Urban Trends shortly after that in town.
Nice.
And then I got into the Skagit Co-op and into Perry and Carlson and into Snohomish, and just my online sales then took off. It just started to kind of word of mouth.
Yeah.
I would say. I haven't done any major marketing or anything like that. That's something I just have no clue what I'm doing. So it's just really been word of mouth for me.
Very cool. How is shipping those things? Are they super difficult?
No, I mean it's you have to really package those babies up, but you get the hang of it. Shipping was a huge curve for me to learn. It's funny to think when we first were learning our website and all that, how I'm like, what in the world? This is crazy. To now we do it, and it's just funny what you can do. You can grow and you can learn and adapt, and so. Everything seems hard at first.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. So then what happened next then?
So gosh, I just kept getting into stores and got my website up, which was a major challenge. If you've ever built, I'm sure you have a website. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. You see why people pay thousands of dollars to get help.
Yep.
But we're pretty grassroots. Like we've just really tried to stay debt-free and just do this as we can without being a strain to our family. So everything we do we do it.
Yeah.
So, the website, and then I started to get a little pickup bin at my house, and so people locally could pick up, and so then I was doing it in my kitchen originally, and it's such a mess, and so then I moved it into my basement, and just when my kids napped or whatever, I would do it then. But working from home with hot wax and a baby and all of it, it's just like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So I just started to kind of think, I wonder how far out I am from getting a little spot, like I just kind of started to think about it. And from there has been a quick transition. Okay. Into having my own spot. So
nice. So where are you located now?
We are on the brick road across from the Stanwood Cafe, right next to Urban Trends, which is kind of cool for me because she was one of the first people to carry us.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that's been a really and that building has been somewhere we've wanted to be in and prayed about, and it's just crazy. Like, I'm still pinching myself that I get to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. And when did you guys open that spot?
August.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're like weeks in. We are like still, our heads are spinning.
Very cool.
Uh-huh.
How has it been? It's difficult to open up a new retail location and everything normally.
Right.
How have you done that with COVID and everything going on?
It's a miracle, really. I have to say, with COVID, we've had our best year.
Good.
It's wild. And I think that's because originally, before we even had our storefront, people weren't wanting to leave their houses, obviously.
Yeah.
So a lot of my biggest online orders came in then.
Yeah.
Because people were nesting, they're at home, they wanted candles, they're also cleaning their homes more,
Yeah.
sanitizing. So it was just kind of ironic. And it was almost, you feel weird in a way that you're succeeding during this time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just wild. I guess that's how God works. But, yeah. So I would say business during COVID for me personally, I haven't had that same struggle. Where I struggle in that is packaging. Like those type of things are held up.
Yeah.
The vessels for my jars,
Yep.
stuff like that. Things are being held up shipping wise. That's the worst of it I've had, and I'm so grateful. I feel so grateful to even say that.
Yeah. No,
So-
it's we're definitely. It's unique to have the business thriving in a
Yes.
time like this.
Yeah.
I know Camano and Coffee are the shipping component of the company, or that company has done very well during this time because people are at home.
Right.
They're waiting. They can't go out and go get coffee anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just funny the different businesses, some that spiked and had their biggest year, and some that just you can't even do them, like theater.
Oh
or
my
movies
gosh, I
or-
know, it's awful.
Yeah.
You have so much compassion for these people because you're just what I can't even imagine, like all of a sudden just tanking, like not being able to run your business and all that
Right.
stuff. It's just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very weird to see the different ways it affects people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then upon launching your new store, then how has that gone?
Again, like I feel like you've probably experienced this too, where people are shopping more locally.
Yeah.
They're not going far away anymore. People are hesitant to go, shop in a big box store. I think the local businesses have been a safer ground
Yeah.
in a way. So I've been blown away by the support. Like I
Nice.
can't even begin. Every time I'm at work, I'm like, I can't believe people are in here. Like I'm just kind of shocked. So
Yeah.
I know that sounds funny, but like the fact that people, I'm so thankful. That's all I could say.
Very cool. So I haven't been able to get over to the space yet. But do you have all of your products and stuff? Do
Yep.
you have additional things in there? Or
Yeah.
So what do you have there?
So I brought on some things that I selfishly want, like beautiful dishware and glasses and just small business, handmade kitchenware, plants. I sell a lot of plants and pots, pottery. I wanted it to be a refreshing place to come in to get a plant, a house plant, a card, a candle. Get your. It's also one of the things that are that we offer that I've always dreamed of doing is we refill our bottles there.
Okay.
So I have
nice.
so I have a whole studio side, which is the best part of all, where I got to take everything out of my house and get it in there, and I have my little lab over there, and I just wanted it to be a refreshing spot. Come get your cleaners filled. Come grab a fresh candle. Get a plant. Like, leave happy. I just want people to leave happy.
Yeah.
And feel like they came to a really calm place
Yeah.
right now. So,
Very cool. And I'm sure you're like, wow, our house is great. Like, it's not too small.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really something.
Very cool. And then, so I also want to touch on, you also work on, you work with some nonprofits and stuff, right?
So there's one particular, actually what's been cool about my store that I get to do is bring on so many different makers who support free trade companies.
Okay.
And that donate to things that I care about, like human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
One of the companies that that I follow on Instagram, her name is Kelly Welk, and she has a whole company based off of getting communities together and creating these gorgeous gatherings where each seat is sold to go towards human trafficking, and it's called Rescue Freedom. Rescue Freedom's whole organization is so incredible because they make it so simple where they one of their things that they say that caught my heart was, do what you love to fight what you hate. So people can go on a hike and raise money. They can sell flowers and raise money. Like, you don't have to be so fancy about it. So I've always loved buying from companies like that you know that your money is going towards not only this product, this small business, but to help people.
Yeah.
I just find that so beautiful. And so I knew that I wanted that in my company.
Yeah.
And it was daunting at first, because I'm like, well, obviously we're just starting out, not making a ton of money. I don't have a lot to give.
Yep.
And so it was a really big eye-opener for me that my small amount that I was making was big to somebody else. You know? So that was a real eye-opener to me. And I just feel like that company has helped me, that nonprofit, and Kelly Welk has helped me understand, like, anything you can give is big to that cause. And so to not wait till I'm making thousands a month in my bank account to be able to donate something, like, give what you can.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun for me, and I love that I'm getting an opportunity now that I'm in kind of the next phase in my business, to where I'll be able to give more and keep supporting these other companies who are supporting them, you know? So it's kind of awesome. It's all the bigger picture to me of what it's all about. So
it's very cool. Yeah, we've I mean, the Camano Island Coffee Roasters was founded as a social business, and that was its mission from day one.
yes.
And
I've always loved that about you guys.
Yeah, and that was something that, you know, back in early, in 1999, 98, like, social business wasn't actually a coined term. So, like, there wasn't actually a name that they could use to explain what they were doing. So you had to explain it from the ground up. Like, okay, so we do this, and then we help the farmers with our money that we make, this way. And you had to walk through the whole story. And now that's, over the last 20 years, that's really grown as a industry, which is really neat.
Yes. It's amazing.
I think that's a big part of being able to help these other groups and countries and stuff like that. Yeah. And it makes you feel like, people, I think, who I've spoken to, a lot of people feel helpless to help these people, whatever that is your heartbeat goes towards. And you can help somebody by buying a pair of earrings now. Yeah. You can help somebody by buying a cookbook, or this money is small amounts adds up. Yeah. So it's cool. Yeah. No, it's really neat that it's become more mainstream and being able to help more people that way. Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Then what do you see the future as Vida Verde Home? I couldn't have seen this. I really couldn't have. Like, I always say, when you dream with God, it's endless. The lid's off. There's no top. And I know not everybody filters through faith the way I do, but I just have always felt like I'm on this ride and I don't want to put a lid on it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like right now in my heart, this could be good enough, but I know that's not it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I just hope, I hope that I serve our community well. I hope that people feel like it's a blessing to the community. I hope my family's proud of me, and then that I just make really quality products, and that's all I could ask for. Yeah. And whatever comes, I'm open. I'm just don't know. I'm just kind of wrapping my head around this part that's happening right now. Well, it's very new, so congratulations. That's very exciting. Thank you. All right. So I like to end every podcast with some rapid fire questions. Okay. So the first one is, what purchase of $100 or less have you enjoyed the most in the last 3 months? Okay. Well, I had my kids ask me these questions last night, and we were cracking up because we all said the same thing. And it sounds like a plug for my store, but I'm really not meaning to. We carry this citrus juicer. It's like an old-fashioned one that you pull down and squeeze. And it has brought us so much joy. We literally love it, and so I immediately thought that, and so did they. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. It's also fun, the thing that kids decide like is their most exciting thing. Yes. So. Absolutely. Cool. Pretend you have a friend coming from out of town. What would their first day look like here? I just think
what has really shocked me and reminded me how spoiled we are here is since I've had this store, most of the customers on a weekend come in, they don't live here.
Yeah.
They are from out of town.
Yep.
They're visiting their beach house. They've rented a beach house or whatever. And it just has made me realize, again, like how lucky we are to live in this little area.
Yeah.
But I would say for sure we would come here and get some coffee, and I'd show them around this area, get some lunch at Tapped maybe, have a beer, show them the beaches. There's so much beauty around here to see. And if there was a farmer's market, grab some local produce, go home and cook. I just think that anybody that comes here always appreciates the beauty of like people have farm animals here, and it's a slower pace.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'll shop all the new local shops, and there's so much to do.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
All right. Who is an interesting or fascinating person in this community that I should interview next?
I literally could keep your podcast busy for weeks if I told you. I could write you a list of like 25 people. I seriously feel like we are surrounded by so many creative, entrepreneurial people here.
Yeah.
And women. Like I really can't believe it. We've had so many businesses, not just me, pop up in Stanwood, of women-owned businesses and people who have been running their business and just under the radar and not really getting much. Like, I'm like, what? You've had your business for how long? Like, there's so many. I will write you a list.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I can't pick.
All right. Sounds good. All right. And lastly, if you could have a message on a billboard right as you're driving on Camano Island, what would that say?
Well, this one kind of is a personal one for me because when I was talking to my kids about this, my mom, when she was alive, she would put on trees around here, Jesus loves you. And I would be so embarrassed, and I would be like, Mom, that's so weird. Why are you doing that? But I feel like the older I've gotten, it's so simple, and I feel like the world needs to know that. Like, it's so simple, but Jesus loves you. Mm-hmm. And I find so much comfort in that in my life, and if I could exude one thing, that's it.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. All right. And Islanders, I will talk to you on the next one. Well, a big thank you to Brynn Guadamuz for joining me on the podcast today, and thank you for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us be found by other Islanders like yourself. And for more information on this episode, you can go to CamanoCommons.com/EP68. That's CamanoCommons.com/EP68. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.